Well, I got to start by saying I'm so happy to have all of you here today. It is really great to be outdoors in person. The mask mandates and the vaccine mandates all gone. So if you take pictures and post them, make sure you put a disclaimer there that we removed it in San Francisco so I don't get beat up by the folks on the internet. But thank you and welcome. I want to start by thanking all the workers who helped us navigate this latest surge. The nurses, the bus drivers, the police officers, the firefighters, the paramedics, the street cleaners, the educators, all of our incredible people who kept this city going. Over the past two years and months, so many of them have been working overtime to take care of this city. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, sometimes the devastating impacts of the last 2 years of COVID can be hard to see. This isn't 1989 when freeways fell, or 1906 when buildings and neighborhoods burned to the ground. And they are deep. We see it in our struggles to simply get through the day, our struggles with mental health, especially in our kids. We see it in their eyes. We see it in our empty downtown offices, in the for lease signs in Union Square, the half-filled hotels. We see it in those struggling with addiction on our streets. We cannot sugarcoat it. We have work to do. Our recovery will not be easy. It will not be quick, but it is coming. It's coming. San Francisco is coming back. And as we look ahead to the decisions about where to take this city, we need to listen to our residents. Last month, the voters of this city sent a very clear message. They sent a message that we must do better by our children. But they also sent a message that while big ideas are important, those ideas must be built on a solid foundation. They must be built on the basics. Basics like a well-run school system that put kids first. Basics like a government that delivers on the essential services. Basics like accountability and competence. During our COVID response, we delivered on the basics. Government, community, and residents all came together to protect our collective health, to save lives. We protected our hospitals and nursing homes. We quickly and efficiently popped up infrastructure like testing and vaccination sites. We delivered food to our seniors, and I want to acknowledge Jeff Lawson of Ripple, who privately helped to fund Help Kitchen to deliver food to our seniors. Thank you so much, Jeff, for your work. We did the basics, and we did them well. But we also showed we could deliver on bigger ideas. We transformed our streets to new outdoor dining. We launched guarantee income programs to help artists and others impacted by the pandemic, and experimented with creating more safe and open spaces to allow people to gather outdoors. Some of us met our neighbors for the first time ever. Now, those COVID experiments are transforming our city. We made shared spaces programs permanent for our restaurants. We have 6 ongoing guarantee income programs with more to come. And in Golden Gate Park, JFK Drive is on its way to being a permanent car-free space. That's who we can be. A city that works hard to deliver on the basics while pushing the big transformative ideas. That's how we kept people healthy and safe this past 2 years. However, right now, we are dealing with another kind of challenge. Right now, too many people across the city don't feel safe. Asian seniors are fearful of leaving their homes. Tenderloin families are being victimized by drug dealers, disruptive behavior and violence. Bayview families living with random gun violence. Homeowners are fortifying their garages yet after another break-in. Small business owners sweeping up broken glass and painting over graffiti on a regular basis. These are complicated problems, I know, with twisted roots that reach well below the surface level solutions. But again, we have the tools to deliver both the basics and the big ideas. First, we need law enforcement to keep people safe, to make arrests, to hold people accountable, and to support victims. But right now, police staffing is at a crisis level. With just over 1,630 police officers, that's 250 fewer officers than we had 3 years ago, and 540 officers below what we need, according to our city's independent analysis, based on a growing population, as you can see right here. We simply do not have the police staffing to meet the needs of a major city, especially as we welcome back workers and visitors. And fixing this starts with filling our police academy classes. And to those who say we don't need the police, again, I say listen to the residents. They are speaking louder than ever. Not for a return to the past, like when I was growing up and there was often a deep mistrust between the community and police. Even then, we needed the police. We needed them to cease the gunfire. We needed them to protect victims of violence. We just needed them to help us live our lives, not undermine us in our own community. Today, we are in a different place. And while we have more work to do, our police department has embraced reforms over the last 5 years, leading to fewer use of force incidents and police shootings, and rapidly diversifying the department so it reflects the community it serves. We've also made progress on big ideas like providing solid alternatives to policing through our Streets Crisis Response Team, which didn't exist 2 years ago. And it's now out on the streets 24/7, responding to calls to help those struggling with mental illness. We have our Community Ambassadors program consisting of retired police officers in our downtown and tourist areas. And we have our multiracial community guardian teams patrolling our neighborhoods. We even have the private sector helping. And I want to thank Chris Larson for the work that he's done to provide a lot of support around cameras and a number of neighborhood corridors to help small businesses. Thank you so much, Chris, for your work in the private sector to help make our city safe. And we continue to make historic investments in our Dreamkeeper initiative and opportunities for all. These are programs that recognize the root causes of crime. The root causes of crime are driven by poverty, by decades of disinvestment, by systemic racism. These are programs that will heal our communities with housing, with mental health, with education, job training, and economic empowerment. That's how we get back to serving the community. Let's be the national model for reform, for alternatives, and for safety. We can do it all, and we don't have to choose. You know, there's a lot of noise about what's happening in our city. You see it in the headlines, often in the right-wing media. They love to talk about San Francisco, don't they? You see it on social media. You see one video take off as if it's telling the whole truth about who we are. I know it's challenging with all that noise to really understand what's happening. It's easy to fixate on the problems, and to be clear, I'm definitely focused on the problems. But today, I really want to talk about what's possible. Hope. Hope for a better future for our city. That's what I see right here on this waterfront. People all over the world, they know the story of the famous waterfront. From the Golden Gate Bridge in Crissy Fields to Fisherman's Wharf where crabbers sail right off the boat, down along the Embarcadero to our iconic ferry building that welcomes commuters from across the bay and visitors from all over the world. Under the Bay Bridge to the ballpark where Barry Bonds and Buster Posey became legends. Today, the story stretches south to Mission Bay, where Steph and Clay play in a beautiful new home built by the hands of our local workforce. What's happening right here as we emerge from this pandemic is a sign of hope for San Francisco. Now, I want to take a moment to take us back. I talk a lot about my grandmother and what she did for me, how her spirit embodied what this city is capable of doing for people. But today, I want to talk about my grandfather, Willie Brown. No, not that Willie Brown. He is not the grandfather. My grandfather, Willie Brown, was a World War II veteran. When word got out to the Jim Crow South that jobs were available, he, along with so many others, moved their families west. Not because they believed that racism wouldn't follow, but because of what this city represents, a better opportunity. My grandfather found a union job as a longshoreman, working alongside a generation of workers building ships and repairing machinery. And they were good paying jobs that led to the development of predominantly Black working class neighborhoods in the Bayview, the Fillmore, and Lakeview. But the truth is, this city and this neighborhood here where we are today, all the way south to Hunters Point, has always represented an opportunity for those seeking a better future. Our waterfront has been a beacon to newcomers and immigrants for nearly 2 centuries. That is the spirit of where we stand today, a place where hope grows out of hard work. Look all around us. Today's waterfront is still a beacon for jobs, for housing, for economic opportunity. In this area, in the coming years, 7,000 homes will be built as part of just 3 waterfront projects alone, here at Mission Rock, at Pier 70, and at the Potrero Power Station. These will be diverse neighborhoods with new housing at all income levels, including 2,000 affordable homes. Those are coming on the heels of nearly 6,000 homes that have been built in Mission Bay in just the last 20 years. New neighborhoods, new parks and open spaces all along the waterfront, throughout the dog patch, new offices and storefronts. This doesn't happen in a city that's dying. It happens in a city that is growing and thriving. And as we grow, we are building affordable homes for people who live right here in the Southeast, thanks to the neighborhood preference policy. And we're creating jobs for the people who live next door in Sunnydale, Potrero, and the Bayview, thanks to City Build and Local Hire. I see my girls right there. In September, we announced that we are doubling the size of City Build, training twice as many people to get the good-paying union jobs that are available. These aren't just statistics. These are people. And let me give you an example. Right here at Mission Rock, thanks to our Women and Families First initiative in partnership with the Giants, thank you, Larry Baer and Renelle Brooks-Moon, for being here today. We trained our first all-women construction class and provided support for childcare, okay? I attended the graduation here at Mission Rock Academy, and seeing those women made me so proud. But hearing those stories, that's why I do this job. Today we have 3 women here from that class, and they all started in different places. Anna was a nanny and a caregiver. Melisha was doing temp work. Zakia worked part-time with Rec and Park and was enrolled in community college. All of them wanted something more. And we got an OG City Build graduate too. Anna wanted to learn how people work together to create big things. Melisha wanted to be able to provide for her daughter and make her proud. Zakia remembers attending Rooftop Elementary School in Twin Peaks and looking out at the view wondering, how can I be a part of that big, beautiful city? Now, all 3 of them are building what's behind me with good union jobs and bright futures. Someday, Melisha's daughter is going to stand where we are today and look at these buildings and say, my mom and her friends built that. See, we aren't just building homes and offices here on the waterfront. We're building lives. That's what's happening in San Francisco. The waterfront has so many stories. It has stories about environmental justice. The Potrero Power Plant once stood just about a mile south from here, a gassed power plant polluting the air that the residents of the Southeast were breathing, asthma, heart disease. We know the history. But thanks to 2 generations of community activists and some of our former elected leaders like City Attorney Dennis Herrera, Supervisor Sophie Maxwell, and Mayor Willie Brown, that story changed. That power plant was shut down. And now a new story. A whole new neighborhood is being built there with new parks, new streets, new homes. A stretch of this waterfront will be open to the public for the first time in over 150 years. Where smoke once spewed all over the neighborhood, children will play. That's what's happening in San Francisco. You know, some love the chatter about businesses abandoning our city, leaving California, and yes, we have our challenges ahead. But again, look around. Historic investments in our city right here. Just down at 16th Street is the Exchange, a commercial office building purchased just last year for over $1 billion. Large companies are renewing and expanding leases, not just here in Mission Bay, but in downtown and South of Market. And right now, this month, so many companies are returning to the office because they are invested in this city. This is not a story about commerce fleeing this city. This is a story about confidence, confidence in what lies ahead. Will it be different than it was? Of course. But this waterfront today is different than it once was too. In fact, it's better. Look behind me at what's being built right here. At Mission Rock, one of these buildings will be affordable housing. Another is dedicated to life sciences. And the third is the future headquarters of Visa on what used to be a parking lot. That's the nature of cities. We endure and we adapt. No, San Francisco today is not San Francisco 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. We maintain our values and we grow stronger by learning from the past, not simply repeating it. Our culture of innovation lives here on the waterfront. It lives with UCSF and the world-class research that helped us navigate this pandemic. The reason the first Omicron case in the country was identified in San Francisco wasn't because we were the first to get it. It's because our researchers at UCSF were the first to find it. That's the work that's happening here. The biotech companies making groundbreaking discoveries every day are right here in San Francisco. The waterfront is also a place for families. Look at Crane Cove Park, the San Francisco Bay Trail, India Basin. Here at Mission Rock, there will soon be a playground for kids to play. And finally, the Central Subway will be better connected to this waterfront and the Bayview with downtown and Chinatown. It's a beautiful new station, strengthening the connections between long divided communities. That's what I see. Housing, jobs, environmental justice, technology, investments, innovation, parks, and open space. That's what's happening in San Francisco. And that's the work we need to do all over this city. Right now, across this state, cities are wrestling with the need for more housing. Far too many are fighting new state laws, looking for ways to block new housing. In San Francisco, we should be leaders on housing. We should be the city California looks to and say, let's do it that way. Let's be like San Francisco. 2 years ago, I set a goal of building at least 5,000 new homes per year. In 2020, we built 4,400. In 2021, we built 4,600. A start, but clearly not good enough. Right now, the only kinds of housing being built are large projects like Mission Rock and Pier 70 and the power station. But families and working people need housing of all sizes, including small and mid-sized apartments, and not just in the Southeast or the Soma, but in big neighborhoods across this entire city. And to do that, we have got to break down the obstructionism that blocks housing at every single turn. Now, you know I tried. I'm not giving up, though. I tried inside City Hall. We made some incremental progress. But on the big ideas like my housing charter amendment, we've been blocked. So we're going to the voters. Change will have to come from outside City Hall, and I am confident that it will this November. Because over and over again, I've heard from our residents they want to cut the bureaucracy and build more housing. We want future generations, like Melicia's daughter, to be able to afford to live here when she's an adult. San Francisco has already shown that we can lead. We do it every day with our ambitious work on climate change. When the United States set a goal of net zero emissions by 2050 and California set a goal by 2045, what do? We set a goal of 2040 because we don't play that. That's how we lead. And with our climate action plan, we know how to get there. That's who we are. But climate policy isn't just about environmental programs. Climate policy is also about housing policy and transportation. Getting people out of their cars, creating dense, walkable neighborhoods like the ones we're building right here on this waterfront. That's climate action. Completing our bus rapid transit project on Van Ness this month, finally. Finally, it's going to open. As well as dozens of quick build projects to move buses faster and create protected bike lanes all across the city over the last 3 years. That's climate action. San Francisco can also be the economic leader our state needs us to be, but we have to work at it. For too long, we've taken our economic success for granted. We assumed that the offices would be filled, that the conventions would come to town, and that the taxes would just stream in. I've been talking to business leaders here and across the city. They love this city. They want to invest. They want to support. They want it to grow. They want San Francisco to succeed. When I put out the call to businesses about committing to bring workers back into the offices, so many answered. They are investing, and they are returning. And what I've heard most from business leaders, just as I've heard from residents and small business owners, is that we need to continue to improve the conditions on our streets. Our work in the Tenderloin has attracted a lot of attention. Nobody, Supervisor Haney, was talking about the TL until we declared a state of emergency. And it inspired a lot of debate. But the main takeaway is that we cannot continue to accept things as they were. The families and the small businesses of the Tenderloin deserve better. Those on the street deserve better. And the people of this city deserve better. Since 2018, we've added more safe shelter space in San Francisco than we had at any time in the previous 20 years. 2 years ago, we set an ambitious goal of adding 1,500 new units of permanent supportive housing. Not only are we on pace to meet that goal, but we're going to exceed it by 70%. That means over 2,500 new units of permanent supportive housing. And that by far is the largest influx of new housing for homelessness this city has ever seen. Now we must focus on doing the work to fill those homes faster. We've made real progress in moving people from temporary shelter-in-place hotels to permanent housing, with over 1,000 people from those hotels not back on the streets, but safely housed. And to address the challenges of mental health and addiction, we're adding hundreds of treatment beds. Working with community partners, we will launch an overdose prevention program and the first drug sobering center in our city's history. But it can't just be about spending the resources. We have to balance it with accountability. I'm done arguing if it's okay for people to remain on the streets when we have a place for them to go, because it is not. It just isn't. And to be honest, there are some folks who cannot or will not do what's safe for themselves or for others, so we have to be honest about the need to deal with those struggling with mental illness, and we need to make serious changes to our state laws. I'm working with other mayors from across California and members of the legislature to reform our mental health laws and to better serve our city and our entire state, because this is not just happening in San Francisco. And finally, going back to where we started today, we have to do better for families in this city. We have to get back to putting our kids first. Soon I will announce the new members of the Board of Education. As part of this decision, which is really one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, I've been meeting with families to hear what they want for their children, what they need from our schools. And I gotta tell you, it was heartbreaking to hear their stories and what they've been through. Kids who had once been vibrant and eager learners, now withdrawn, the learning loss and the mental illness, the challenges that they're all experiencing. Our public school kids getting left behind even as private schools begin to rebound. I know no single appointment to an elected body is going to fix all of that. It's going to take work, years of work. That's why we recently announced our Children and Family Recovery Plan, a long-term strategy to improve access to the services we do have and expand the programs that are working to make a difference for families. It is really important that we support and protect our children. Because when we better serve our young people, when we invest in them, when we take care of them, when we treat all kids like they are our kids, we create a better future for all of us and for them too. For 2 years, we've had to think about our lives and our city in a totally different way. Getting back won't be easy. This shift won't be immediate, but we are moving forward. We've lifted the indoor mask mandates, and today we announced we are ending vaccine mandates for businesses. You guys don't seem very enthusiastic about that. I, for one, am. I look forward to going to a club to have a good time without my mask. It's time. It's time, Renelle. It's time to open up our eyes. It's time to open up our city. It's time to enjoy our lives after everything we've experienced. To see not just the challenges we face, but the opportunities before us. To feel the pride in what our city has done and can do. The first in the country to shut down. And we saw one of the lowest death rates in the country and the highest vaccination rates. We did that. San Francisco did that. Now it's up to each of us to harness that pride and be motivated to make important change and decisions in City Hall, to take action in our community, to tell our stories. Just the other day, we got an email from a visitor named Brittany, who had a layover at SFO and wanted to explore San Francisco. Her friends had seen the news. They told her, Brittany, San Francisco is not a safe place for you. But Brittany said, girl, I'm going to party in San Francisco. And she found out that her friends were wrong. She met 2 of our welcome ambassadors, Terrence and Joel. She found out from them what the best cable car routes were to see Lombard Street. She was recommended to places to eat that were great San Francisco restaurants and given directions to the Golden Gate Bridge. They helped give her an experience that inspired her and left a lasting memory. They helped her create her own story, a true story of San Francisco. That's who we can be, a city that tells our own story. We are a city that reaches into our own communities to connect people to incredible opportunities. We are a city that proudly draws dreamers and seekers from everywhere. People come for love. They come for opportunity. They come to escape their past. They come to build a better future. They come to make a difference in their lives and in the world. They come even briefly for a moment of magic. They come because when voting rights are under attack across this country, we deliver ballots to every single voter that's registered with paid postage. They come because we would never, ever accept a law like don't say gay. Unbelievable. In this city, we not only say gay, we sing it loud and proud all year long. They come because when abortion rights are under attack, San Francisco says we not only protect women's rights, but with a woman mayor, a woman speaker, and a woman vice president, we put them in charge. So next time, when someone asks what's happening in San Francisco, you tell them that. You tell them that this city will rise to meet our challenges day after day. relentless in our effort, and unyielding in our values. That's who we are. We are San Francisco. We are loud. We are proud. We are hopeful. And we are resilient, San Francisco. So let's tell them that. Thank you.